Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the OKRunShow. Joining me, as always, Miles Split Editor Sean Rutledge. Say
Guys,
hello, Sean.
how's it going?
Big weekend again. We had lots of big performances across the state. Carl Albert had a big meet. Broken Arrow had their relay meet. And then, of course, KU relays, not in the state, but had a lot of big performances out of Oklahoma athletes. Kicking us off, distance, Brody Woodcock, 9:07 state lead in the 3,200 meter at KU, came in second, but big time performance out of the guy who's also the state leader in the 1,600. I think this cements him as number one distance runner in the state this year. Next big performance that stuck out, Noah Thayer out of Mustang, 154.87. This puts him at number 4 in the state during the season. Cam Langdon proving that he is not a one-dimensional guy. He had a big 3,200 performance. Everybody's like, why do you guys rank him in your subjective distance ranking so highly? He's only had one good race. Well, he just proved that it wasn't a fluke. He also ran 4:17. This is number 3 in the state this year, behind Woodcock, behind Noah Thayer as well, slightly ahead of Zach Rutherford. Rowan Meyer, who's been sneaky, always has good performances, very consistent this year, 420 and 155 at KU. He's a guy that I've always been kind of throwing in the rankings because I believe in him, even though he always seems to come in second. He gets it done, 420, 155. And then Gwyn Myers, making her mark to possibly be the number one distance girl in the state, 456.62, state lead in the 1,600. She also has a 213 from earlier in the season. Hard to bet against her. Sean, what do you think? Is she the number one girl in the state right now?
I think she's up there. I mean, I believe she's gone 10:50 something to 2 mile. Off the top of my head. Could be off there though.
I mean, she's run sub 11. Sub 11.
I mean, I think right now the only one it'd be her and then probably like Gentry Turner. I mean,
Gentry's had a really good
those
season.
two I think have had like consistently
Yeah.
high, like they've almost always gotten first. We're up there and they're both ran very fast across all 3 distance events. So we'll see what happens at state. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, good luck picking who's going to win. Actually, Sean, let's do that. Who's going to win the 800 this year in the girls' side? Just girls.
I think I picked Bella Nelson to win when I made my hot takes, which wasn't a hot take at all. But so I'm gonna stick with that because why not? But
1,600. Who's winning?
Gentry Turner.
3,200. Who's winning?
Gentry Turner.
Okay. So he's going Bella Nelson, Gentry.
I don't know, but honestly though, I think it's a toss up in all the distance events. I could see one person winning all of it, or I could see a different person winning every event. It's really hard to tell. I mean, when it comes to like that meet and it's championship racing, some people step up, some people don't step up. And I don't know if these athletes have a history of stepping up or not. So who knows what's going to happen. It's also different. I believe Gentry, Gwyneth, and they're all seniors, so that adds something to it because they're probably going to want to try harder.
I know Gentry's a senior. I don't know if Gwen's a senior. I think she's a junior. I believe she's a junior.
I mean, I remember
don't quote me on that.
When I was racing my senior year.
Duggan's a junior. Bella Nelson's a junior.
There's a lot of extra pressure when you're a senior and it's your last high school race. So you usually want to there's more in there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
you've got him at a toss up right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be anybody, or it could be someone that we didn't talk about. Honestly,
maybe. Moving on to an event group that I don't believe is as much of a toss up. The women's 100, Jordan Atkinson, I think is your favorite right now. I don't foresee her losing. She keeps beating the top girls in the state. 11:65 at KU, winning KU relays in the girls 100. I don't think it's as much of a toss up to say that she's gonna win the 100. I think it's pretty set. But again, the 100 meters, crazy things can happen. It's a short race, so low margin of error. And one girl that possibly could beat her has been the freshman sensation out of Putnam City West, maybe Putnam City High.
I think so.
I always forget which one she's from. but she's run phenomenal all year, but hasn't necessarily always had the opportunities to race the top girls. She has the state lead in the 200, 24-44, took it out of Jordan Atkinson's hands in that event. And then also a Nathan Hale girl, she took the state lead in the 100, and then Jordan Atkinson goes, no, I'm going to take it back in the finals at KU. Nathan Hale, I believe, is 5A, so she's probably the favorite in 5A.
I'd assume, yeah.
Putnam City's 6A, right?
Yes.
They're a school that I can never remember if they're 6A or 5A. You did the
Well,
scoring.
And the article that I will have coming out at some point, a couple different, there was Putnam City, Putnam City West, Putnam City North.
Were they
But that article also goes back to 2010, so I don't know if they still are.
okay?
It's like, I mean, that stuff changes.
We should probably know who's in what class, but sometimes it gets fuzzy with some of those schools that are like borderline.
Yeah.
Moving over to the men, Gage, Spencer, Risto took over the state lead in the men's 100, 10.39 at the Tulsa 7 conference meet, small school meet. Ran quick though, also ran 21:53 for the number 3 200-meter time in the state. And then moving up to the 400, Elijah Green, 48:46, puts him at number 4 in the state this year.
There was also, that was like Kansas, and there's also a few other athletes I didn't put on there just because we're just putting like the top time, obviously, but that ran like 49 from Oklahoma. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I think now I don't know the exact like top 10 in the 400 for the guys, but I'm pretty sure it's all 48, 49, a couple 47s from the 2 from Union.
Yes.
So it's going to be pretty competitive, I think. And I think it could kind of be anybody. Because there's also a couple kids that maybe do the 800 that haven't already done the 400 yet. Maybe they run it at regionals. You know,
I don't foresee that as much. I mean, the only person, Daniel Davis, could be competitive, but I think he's not winning it. He's not being top 6. Who do you think? Ravage? Josh?
Colton Bennett.
Bennett?
I could be off here, but I do remember
he is more of a 4-8 guy.
He's kind of stepped down. I think he's run pretty. I don't think he's ever won before, but I think
he could definitely be a top 8 guy at the state meet, like sneak in, get a medal, possibly get a qualifier. I'm not sure how strong that region is for him in the 400, whether he's going to face a lot of adversity trying to even qualify for state. But I imagine, I mean, he's not in the same regional as Union, so that helps.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think mostly your 400 guys are going to be what they already are this year. I think a fun storyline is kind of like, I think Union's going to win it, like the Open 4. It's just which guy. I think Dejan's been a little more consistent at winning 400s, but Jarek had a really good race at one time and obviously beat Dejan for the state lead. I don't think either one of them, obviously guys are competitive, they want to win, but I think if you're going to lose to anybody, losing to your teammates, okay.
Yeah.
Especially when you go 1-2, and that's 18 points for Tulsa Union. But also, if one of them falters at the state meet, they don't score as well. That leaves an opportunity for someone else to step up, score big. Maybe it's an Elijah Green who comes out on top. I don't know, but I could see the state winner. You've got to run 47. I think the 6A boys 400, you have to run 47 to win it. And I think after that, 48 low is what's going to take to be on the top of the podium. So like top 3, top 4. Yeah, everybody's going to be under 49 that's on the podium, or 49 real low. Moving over to the hurdles, Jacayla Morgan out of Eisenhower drops down to number 2 in the state, 44.85. I remember seeing her at John Jacobs. She ran really well, but still like kind of gets overshadowed when Amaya Harrison, who's been dominating the girls 300 hurdles all year, is in the race. And Amaya did do well again this weekend, but she just does well every weekend. So it's hard to just always mention that she is dominating the girls 300 hurdles. And Nathan Enrique, he was number 2 in the state last year, state runner-up, narrowly got beat by Aiden Edwards at the state meet. He's run 38.75. I think this is his first sign that he's back to where he was kind of last year. but this puts him at fourth in the state. Dean McCune's had a great year. He didn't have a great KU relays. I think he DNS'd like the 110s. I don't think he finished nearly as high as he wanted to in the 300 hurdles. But I mean, kid's been good all year. I think Dean McCune's still my favorite so far. But could Nathan Enrique, who stepped up big at the state meet last year, do it again this year? I don't know. Sean, you got any thoughts? I know I've kind of
Not on the
run through
hurdles. I
sprints
think
and
the
hurdles.
Hurdles is about set.
Who's your favorites right now?
Probably Dean.
Yeah. Who's your favorites in the girls? Obviously. Do you? Because
I think that's more.
we didn't put her in here. Kayvon Newbine, 1385.
Yeah.
That was
fast.
massive. I don't
That's fast.
forgot to write it down, but she did state lead by a big margin, by over a tenth of a second.
Mhm.
Crazy good. I think the battle between her and Anara is gonna be crazy. So we didn't have Anara in this meet. Could Anara have run 13.7? Could she have run 13.84 to Kayvon's 13.86 or 13.85? I don't know. They've been really close all year. I think flip a coin. That's your favorite. Put one of them one side Anara, one side Kayvon. It could be a toss up for sure.
I think so. Yeah.
But big sign of Kayvon that she's kind of peaking right at the right time, coming alive here late. But they've been back and forth all year, and that's a battle that I think maybe is my number one race to watch because I think it's the most exciting. That it will genuinely be a lean at the tape, like it was last year. Moving to the jumps, Alyssa Langford, 11 feet in the pole vault, tied for number 3. I think kind of something I want to mention here, 11 feet for being third. It's kind of crazy how good Cloudier Mustang and Passioner out of Shattuck have been all year because they're jumping 13 feet roughly.
Yeah.
High 12s, mid to high 12s. Except for they're in completely different classes.
Yeah.
Cloudier, obviously Mustang 6A. Passioner is a Class A girl in Shattuck. Langford, where was she from? Remember?
Langford's in the middle of Oklahoma.
Langford's her last name. Anyway, we didn't write down what school she was from.
So before this, Colin was like, "You know where that town is?" And I was like, "No." So when he showed me, I thought you were asking.
That was Bristow. That was where the 100-meter guy, the kid in the 100, the 10.39 and the 21.5.
Sorry.
Anyway,
happens.
Moving over to the long jump, Nicholas Chu, 25.3.5. I just want to mention that is 2 feet farther than anybody else in the state has jumped this year. 2 feet farther.
It's close to the state record.
He's
like very close.
Very close. I believe 25 mid is the state record. We try to look it up. We try to go to OHS. OHS's website is down today. Might need to shoot a message to one of the coaches.
I have a solution.
Do you have
I think I have it.
Do you have it written down?
I think so.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Well, while he's getting his notes and finding out what the state record is, this guy's 2 feet farther than everybody else. That puts him nationally ranked somewhere pretty high. I need to look that up. Yeah, that's crazy far. 5A out of Elgin. Do you have it?
2504.75.
So he's over the state record. No, he's not.
No.
25. Okay.
04.
So 4 inches. Okay.
4.
He's half an inch away. He is half an inch away from the state record right now. That's crazy. 5A state, gonna have to make my way over to the long jump pit because if he breaks the state record, I would be remiss to not at least have a picture of it for us to post to social media. That's ridiculous. Nicholas Chu, keep going. I think he's a junior. I think he's still got a whole year left after this.
Heck yeah.
Mission for 26 feet. Let's go. Moving over to the relays, Tulsa Union. I want to kind of give a little story here. So BA has their relay meet. Their boys go out, they lower their own school record, they inch a little bit closer to Tulsa Union state lead. Cut the lead down to like a half a second. They're getting close. Tulsa Union goes the next day. So on Saturday, they go, yep, we're not letting you get that close. And they lower it even farther down to 317.96. State lead, of course, school record, of course, winning the KU relays. We have their splits. 48-63 out of Devin Jordan, 50-39 out of Daniel Davis, who's also their 800-meter guy, 49-29 out of Dejon Gaines, and then 49-35 out of Jarek Waite. So, phenomenal performance. I do still want to see them at the state meet. I think Broken Arrow had to run mostly alone. Want to see them, even if they don't beat Union, just the Union boys, if they know that Broken Arrow's on their tail and has a chance at getting them if they don't have their best day, I think it's going to make both teams rise even better.
I think it's very.
And I think that, 317 again, I wouldn't be shocked if they have to run 317 again just to make sure they win, because I think Broken Arrow probably will run 318 low.
Yeah.
At the state meet against them. I think it'll be crazy. Sean, what's your?
I think what's interesting about this is that it's obviously a very fast time. And it's a 4x4, so it is different than an open 400, but I could see them being even faster.
Of course.
Because I know that Daniel Davis has split like 49 low, 48 high before. And if, you've got two guys on that team that have split, 47, that have ran 47 in an open. So, there could be a day where they all run 49. Or
I think
maybe a 48 in there.
Yes, I think them freshening up, and then obviously the energy of the state meet, let alone the 4x4 at the state meet, to possibly decide the team champion between them and Broken Arrow. It could literally come down to who wins the 4x4, or maybe they have to win and Broken Arrow needs to finish worse than whatever, one of those situations. I wouldn't be shocked if they get down to 316. And I believe the state record is what, 3?
I got it.
Go back to the notes.
Doing handy work today.
Go back to the notes. I think the state record is safe because I think it actually is like 314. I think it's something pretty quick. What is it?
315.27.
315.2. They would need to knock off 2.5 seconds, which over the course of 4x4, if they
according to their PRs, it's
okay,
possible.
On paper, could they do it? Yes. In practice, it's still hard.
Yeah.
It's still very, very hard. But I think with Broken Arrow having the season they're having in the 4x4, other teams like UConn, Carl Albert, who may front load their relays with guys that are 48-point guys that can at least split that. I think it could push them out to a really good start. And then knowing that other teams are on their heels may drive them to a 316, 315 type performance, but it's still tough. It gets increasingly more difficult. It gets exponentially more difficult with every passing second you try to get faster. In every event, but especially in an event where it lasts, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. There's not a ton of room for improvement. But hey, I think the boys could do it on paper. Their PRs, they add up to being able to do it. It's just getting everything to click on that day at the state meet. Also, shout out to Tulsa Union, 41-98, winning KU relays. They're already the state leaders, but to take down the entire fields at KU. Also, KU relays, they have a Sunflower Showdown 4x1 where it's only the Kansas schools. So then they just exclude all of the Oklahoma and Missouri and Nebraska schools that come to the meet. And they all run faster than the Sunflower Showdown. So come on, Kansas. Throw your top 4x1s against us. We beat you guys in the sprints. We don't want to talk about another events. We don't want the wrath of Clay Shively. We don't want that because he would dominate us. Do you know who Clay Shively is?
No.
Clay Shively's run 840 and 400, turned 4 flat in the mile.
Well, he hasn't seen the trio of Brody Woodcock, Cameron Langdon, and
Clay Shively's like
Zach
I
Rutherford.
think one of the top 5 distance recruits in the nation. He's out of Wichita.
They're gonna combine their powers and be
they're gonna combine their powers. Rest in peace, Clay Shively. Sorry, Mike Smith, you are not getting Clay Shively in Flagstaff next year. One last performance to go over. Braden Garrison, he was our only returner heading into this year that was over 60 feet. He gets back over 60 feet through 60 feet, 2.5 inches. Second in the state, behind the Glenpool kid. Who
Jack Keith.
Nope, that's Collinsville. Ruger
Well,
Tatum.
I think Jack Keith is in the lead.
Nope, Ruger Tatum, 64 feet.
Oh, not on my
Jack
split.
Keith. Jack Keith, I believe, is over 60 feet, but slightly behind Braden Garrison now.
I believe he's 61.
Okay, so
when I wrote this down, I had Jack Keith at 61 and then Braden Garrison at 60.
All right.
So it must be Braden Garrison's third in the state.
Third in the state.
Yes.
Third in the state. I think that's it for us, at least for the results of this weekend. Moving forward to keep you guys on like the same page as us. This weekend, big thing is Deer Creek Mile Night. Obviously, small school regional meets to decide who's going to be qualifying to those state meets that we'll be at the week following. Sean and I, in some capacity, will be at the state meets for small school. I believe I'm going to Class A 2A. He'll be at 3A, 4A. And then we'll come back together at 5A, 6A state. So the next couple weekends, you will be seeing a lot of us boots on the ground coverage. Also look forward to a lot of recaps and previews heading into the state meets and coming out of them. And then the finish of the entire season for us and for the state, I believe, is going to be Oklahoma City Mile Night the weekend after the state meet, where hopefully some guys run quick in the mile. One of them is going to be me. I'm going to run the mile. Sean, what would it take to get you to run the mile there on like basically no training to run a mile there?
It depends on some stuff I hear from a doctor, and if it goes well, then I'll do it.
Okay, but if you run a mile, what do you think your mile time would be? Spiked up, I think you probably still have spikes, right?
Yeah.
So spiked up.
Okay, I mean,
mile,
here's what I want to say.
Track, what do you got?
I'm gonna say. If I didn't have the health stuff that I'm dealing with at the moment, because I can't like run fast if I have this. So if I didn't have that, I do think I could run 4:45.
4:45.
Because like in the fall, I felt pretty good, and I think I split like 239 and 1,000, and then like ran like I think
we may have to put prop betting up. Like obviously, there's no money on the line. We're not gambling. We don't endorse kids that are under 18 that listen to this to gamble. If you're over 18 and you want to gamble away your money, go for it. It's your money, not mine. Yeah. But we may have to put some prop bets. Maybe we'll put like over under for Sean, over under for me.
Well,
and then maybe a gap between us. Like how big is the like
Colin will destroy me because I have not ran at all. But I'll try to get myself right because I would like to do it.
When will we know?
I've been trying to.
When will we know that if you were able to even do it? Not necessarily.
I got an appointment tomorrow, so hopefully.
Could we maybe have a confirmation for next week? By next week,
I'll talk to my doctor. I'll be like, "Look, Miss Fawn, I need an answer real quick, or it's gonna be trouble." And she'll give me an answer. So.
Alrighty.
Hopefully, I'll be there. And if I don't run under 4:50, then I'm quitting.
Quitting something that you started back up with like 3 weeks before it happens.
Listen, I was in some like mid shape 2 months ago. Ran like 6 miles one time. Average like 6:20. That last mile was like 5:02.
Hey.
Uphill.
So
I feel like I can run 4:50. If I can't run 4:50, I'm like horrible. That's not true. But
yeah. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you guys for listening. We will talk to you guys later.